So here's the thing. Fear has stopped me doing things more times than I can remember. From starting ideas, trying new things, speaking up, and even pressing record on this podcast. And the funny thing is, fear never really goes away. The trick is learning how to move through it. Take a seat. This is the Life Bench. As always, thank you to everyone that's listened to the last episode, or any of the episodes for that matter. This is episode 6, which now means I've got to start paying for the plan on my hosting service. There was a time when I didn't think I'd start, let alone get to 6 episodes. So again, thank you for your support along the way. Last time was about finding your purpose and the journey that I've been on to find mine. I hope in the last week that some of you have started to reflect on your own why, and maybe even made a start on trying to find your purpose. I think this episode again follows on really well because inevitably when you start moving towards something that matters, whether it's a new idea, a goal you have, or even just trying something new for the first time, fear shows up. You can even be excited or know 100% that the thing is the right decision, and yet still fear will be present. That little voice in your head asking things like, what if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if this doesn't work out? I think I've touched a little bit on this in a previous episode, but I've been fearful at many different times. The obvious one being starting this podcast. Even though I know in my head and heart that it's what I want to do, and there's a strong reason behind why I want to do it, I was still scared in the beginning. Scared of what people would think, or if I had anything interesting to say, or if anyone would even listen. I spent a lot of time with these thoughts in my head, and in the end, I just put them all out of my mind and made a start. It took me a while to get there, but one day I just said, today's the day, and I hit record on the introduction. And after that, things just kind of snowballed. I gained momentum and I ran with it. Starting gave me the confidence to keep going. Of course, I still get the little voices in my head, but it's not really fear anymore. It's more doubt. Probably because I care what I'm putting out. But I just try to use that confidence I've gained from starting to push past those voices and keep going. We've all felt fear at different times and different situations, like sitting an exam, taking your driving test, or interviewing for a job. And the truth is, what most of us don't really think about regarding fear is that it's hardwired into us. It's a survival mechanism. Thousands of years ago, fear is what kept us alive. It stopped us from walking into danger or getting too close to the things that could harm us. Now the problem is that in today's modern world, fear often fires up in situations that aren't about life and death. Instead of protecting us from a wild animal, it tries to protect us from embarrassment or rejection or uncertainty. And this is why fear shows up the moment you decide to do something different. Because to your brain, different equals dangerous. Different means stepping out of your comfort zone, which is the place you and your mind feel safe. It doesn't matter if that comfort zone you stay in is actually making you unhappy, stuck or frustrated. To your brain, it's familiar, and familiar feels safe. So it will do all it can to keep you there. And if you don't ever get out of your comfort zone, you never progress. You'll never move forward. You never experience all of those unknown things that you wonder about. But when you actually think about it, fear is really just your brain's way of saying, hey, You're about to step into unknown territory. It doesn't always mean stop. Sometimes it means that you're headed in the right direction. Our body is very clever, and it gives us signals. We just need to be able to read them correctly and then act accordingly. I've experienced fear in so many different situations, and I'm sure you have too. I've said I was fearful about starting this journey, but I've also been fearful about opening up and speaking honestly about my experiences. Every time I thought about putting myself out there, or thought about what I'm going to say, fear has been right there. And I bet you've all felt the same way too. Maybe starting that new job, having a difficult conversation, or sharing something personal with someone you care about. The key is realizing that fear isn't always the enemy. It's just that signal, a sign that something matters to you. We only get scared when we care about something. When it doesn't matter to us, fear doesn't even bother showing up. Now here's the interesting thing. Fear isn't just there to annoy us. It's actually trying to protect us. It's the brain's way of running a risk assessment on a situation. Is this safe? Is this smart? Could this hurt me? It doesn't always feel like that, but that's what fear is trying to do in the background. And sometimes that's extremely useful. It can stop us from doing reckless things or making uninformed decisions. In this sense, fear has a true purpose. It's presenting the worst case scenario for a situation before we go ahead and do it. The problem comes when that protective instinct takes over and goes too far, when it stops us from doing the things which aren't actually dangerous. Of course, fear doesn't know the difference between actual danger and imagined danger, so it treats speaking in front of a room full of people the same way it would standing on the edge of a cliff. Your reaction can be the same. Sweaty palms, increased heart rate, lightheadedness. Your brain is literally going, we might not survive this. And for as clever as our brain and our bodies can be, to have such a similar reaction to two very different situations is amazing, but also very annoying. We don't need to be protected in every situation. And if we allow it, fear's protective side can hold us back. Applying for a particular job, trying a new hobby, having a conversation you need to. I guarantee it's held all of us back at some point in our lives. But I will also say that looking back, the thing I feared never turned out to be as bad as I imagined. But in the moment, fear convinced me it was safer not to act. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said it best. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And it's true. Our minds exaggerate potential negative outcomes rather than reflecting the actual challenges we face. So the challenge isn't to get rid of fear altogether. It's about trying to recognise and learn when fear is giving you valuable protection and when it's unnecessarily stopping you from doing something you want to. The safest option isn't always the right one. Sometimes it's the option that keeps you from moving forward. Now, on the flip side to this, we can use fear as fuel. If you now think about the times in your life when you were scared, but you carried on and pushed through anyway. Maybe you changed your job, told someone how you felt, or tried something completely new. How did you feel afterwards? Fear didn't go away, but when you did it, I bet you felt great. That sense of achievement. And we all need to use fear more to achieve the things we want. Some of the biggest breakthroughs come on the other side of fear. Because when you embrace it and step out of your comfort zone, that's when real growth happens and amazing things start. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting with fear. If you're waiting to feel 100% ready, completely fearless, then you'll never start. You'll never do the things you want to. But if you recognise fear as that signal that you're moving into something meaningful or something you care about, you can use it almost as your guide. For me personally, some of the moments I'm most proud of have come from times when I was afraid, but I pushed through and did it anyway. Starting new things, facing difficult truths, having hard conversations. I go back to it, recording each one of these episodes and putting them out into the world. There's always some element of fear that I still face, and that will probably always be there. But the growth and change that I've got from doing it means that it won't ever stop me. It's my fuel to keep going. So I've spoken about fear showing up and why it happens, looking at it from a protection point of view, and then using it as fuel. But of course the big question is, how do we actually face it? How do we go against all of those thoughts and feelings and take action? There are probably all sorts of ways, but I'm going to tell you what's worked for me. The first thing I've found that helps is having accountability. Fear loses a lot of its power when you bring other people in. Sharing it with a family member or close friend can really help. I found even just saying it out loud makes a difference. Exactly like I do when I'm talking into the microphone. It's not only support, but a bit of healthy pressure, I suppose, to make sure you follow through on your actions. The second thing is breaking down the fear into small steps. When something feels huge or overwhelming, that's when fear thrives the most. Break the thing down into small, manageable steps. Just do one thing a day to start with. Consistency over intensity. A lot like compound interest. And if you're like me, you'll find that one action will lead into 2 or 3 in the same day. And the perfect example of that is that this episode that I'm recording now, I didn't want to start today. I'd had a tough day at work, but I came up here and thought that I'd just do the intro, and I've nearly done the whole thing. Another one that's really helped me, and this may come from the different experiences that I've had in my life, but whatever it is, I'm going to do it regardless of what people think. Because I believe in it. I want to do it. So I will. It's kind of like reframing failure. Failure is feedback and a chance to learn. It's not the end. Real failure is not trying at all. Finally, and it might sound simple and obvious, but just doing it. Action is the antidote to fear. The longer we sit in our own heads, overthinking, the louder and stronger fear gets. Once you start, however small the step, you build momentum. And that momentum is very difficult to stop. This is episode 6, and my momentum is showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. So that's what has helped me. And none of those things have got rid of fear or defeated it. It's what I've done alongside it. And that's the only way to move forward and create change. by acting anyway, even when fear is sitting right beside you. And that's really the heart of it. Fear is always going to show up, whether it's starting something new, putting yourself out there, or facing a big change. But don't let it stop you. These things that you're afraid of, you don't need to be. And if you push through and do the things you want to, I promise you'll be amazed at the outcome. So yeah, that's been facing fear and taking action. I was unsure what the topic was going to be for this one. I like how there seems to be an order and how they're flowing. But I do want to talk about cancer. It's something really personal to me because of the different times I've experienced it with my family and, of course, ads. But also my own experience, especially since a recent checkup that I had for skin cancer. So I may well go with that one for next week. But whatever the topic is, I'll make sure it's something that connects with everything I've spoken about so far. Thank you, as always, for listening and supporting the podcast. I know I say the same thing every week, but I do mean it. And please continue to rate and review wherever you listen. Follow the Instagram page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I've said before that there will be videos at some point, and there's a definite fear that I haven't conquered yet. Now I've said all this, I don't really have an excuse not to talk to camera. So this episode will probably be that final push to just do it. Continue to reach out and send me a message. Maybe you can let me know what your biggest fear is, or one you've overcome, or one you want to. I was very tempted to go with the Star Wars quote around fear, as I'm a big Star Wars fan. So I just want to give that an honourable mention. But I've decided to go with one from a film that Ads actually introduced me to. He introduced me to so many over the years that I hadn't even heard of. And I recently rewatched this one. It's from Coach Carter, which came out in 2005. And throughout the film, Samuel L. Jackson's character repeatedly asks Rick Gonzalez's character what his biggest fear is. He doesn't understand why he keeps asking. Up until much later in the film, when he does understand and he recites the whole quote. It's the first two lines which have the most impact. They indicate that we're more afraid of how capable, complete and powerful we are than any perceived incapability, incompleteness or powerlessness. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.